All right, let me tell you something about Dutch kickboxing. It's not just a sport, it's a phenomenon, a real powerhouse in the world of combat sports. When you hear Dutch kickboxing, you immediately think of power, precision, and relentless aggression. These guys and girls too are tough as nails. They come forward, they throw hard, and they don't stop until the job is done. It's a style that has earned respect worldwide, and for a very good reason. You see a Dutch kickboxer step into the ring, you know you're in for a show, a real fight, no dancing around, just pure, unadulterated striking. It's beautiful in a brutal kind of way. The origins of this incredible fighting style go back to the 1970s. It wasn't born in a vacuum, it was a smart mix, a clever combination of different arts. Dutch martial artists traveled to Japan, learned from the masters of Kyokushin karate, a very hard style. Then they took that, brought it back to the Netherlands and started mixing it with Western boxing techniques. And something new, something incredibly effective was created. They also looked at Muay Thai from Thailand, taking bits and pieces from there too. This blend created a unique system focused on powerful low kicks, strong boxing combinations, and a very specific rhythm and flow. It's a thinking man's brawl. Today, Dutch kickboxing stands tall as one of the most dominant striking arts on the planet. You see its influence everywhere, from K1 Grand Prix tournaments, which Dutch fighters absolutely dominated for years, to modern MMA. Fighters from all over the world try to learn the Dutch system, or at least incorporate elements of it into their game. Why? Because it works. It's proven time and time again at the highest levels of competition. The Dutch have produced champion after champion, legendary names that echo in the halls of fighting history. It's a testament to the effectiveness of their training, their techniques, and their incredible fighting spirit. This isn't just about throwing punches and kicks wildly, there's a science to it, a beautiful, painful science. The way they set up their combinations, the angles they create, the sheer ferocity of their attacks, it's all honed through years of dedicated, grueling training. The Dutch kickboxing gyms are like factories, forging warriors. They have a system, a blueprint for creating elite strikers. And that's why, even now in 2025, when someone talks about the best stand-up fighters in the world, you can bet that Dutch kickboxers will be at the top of that list. It's a legacy built on sweat, skill, and a whole lot of knockouts. So how did this Dutch style really come to be? It's a great story, actually. It all started with a few pioneers, guys with vision. Think about the early 1970s. Martial arts were exploding in popularity around the world. Some Dutch martial artists already skilled in styles like Kyokushin karate, which is super tough, full contact stuff, went to Japan. They wanted to learn more, to test themselves. They saw the Japanese kickboxing scene, which was itself a mix of karate and Muay Thai. They soaked it all in, the techniques, the training, the fighting spirit. They were like sponges, these guys. Then they brought that knowledge back home to the Netherlands. But they didn't just copy what they saw. No, the Dutch are innovators. They started to blend it with what they already knew and what they thought would make it even better. They looked at Western boxing with its slick footwork, its head movement, and its powerful punching combinations. They realized that if they could combine the devastating kicks of the East with the superior boxing of the West, they'd have something truly special, and they were absolutely right. This fusion was the key, the secret sauce that made Dutch kickboxing so unique and so incredibly effective. One of the most important things they focused on was the low kick. Now, Muay Thai has low kicks, of course, but the Dutch refined it, made it a cornerstone of their style. They learned to throw it with brutal power, targeting the thigh, chopping down their opponents like trees. And they combined these low kicks seamlessly with their boxing. A jab, a cross, then bam, a thundering low kick, or a low kick to set up the punches. This interplay between hands and feet became a hallmark of the Dutch style. It was a nightmare for opponents who weren't used to that kind of attack. Men like Jan Plaas, who founded Majiro Gym, and Tom Harink, the founder of Chakoriki Gym, were instrumental in this development. These weren't just trainers, they were visionaries. They experimented, they refined, they pushed their students to the limits. They created a training culture that was incredibly tough, but also incredibly smart. They understood that it wasn't just about individual techniques, but how they flowed together. They emphasized combinations, aggression, and a never-say-die attitude. It was this combination of Eastern discipline and Western boxing pragmatism that truly forged the Dutch kickboxing style into the fighting force we know today. It was a perfect storm of influences. Let's talk about the weapons, the tools of the trade for a Dutch kickboxer. If you're facing one, you better be prepared for a whole world of hurt coming from all angles. The absolute signature, the bread and butter, is the low kick. These kickboxers can kick. They don't just tap your leg, they aim to destroy it. They turn their hip over, drive through with the shin, and it's like getting hit with a baseball bat. One or two of those and your mobility is gone. 3 or 4 and you're probably not standing up anymore. They use it to break down their opponents, to take away their movement, and to set up other attacks. It's a brutal, effective weapon. But it's not just about the low kicks. The Dutch style is famous for its incredible boxing combinations. They don't just throw one punch at a time. They throw barrages, 3, 4, 5 punches, all flowing together, all aimed with precision and power. Jabs, crosses, hooks, uppercuts, they master them all. And they integrate these boxing skills perfectly with their kicks. A flurry of punches might finish with a devastating high kick, or a body shot could be followed by a crippling low kick. This ability to switch seamlessly between hands and feet to keep their opponents guessing is what makes them so dangerous. They are masters of the offensive flurry. Another key element is their stance and footwork. It's a bit different from traditional Muay Thai. The Dutch stance is often a bit more mobile, allowing for a better angling and quicker entry for boxing combinations. They are very good at cutting off the ring, pressuring their opponents and giving them no room to breathe. They're not afraid to stand in the pocket and trade because they trust their chins, their power and their technique. They train to absorb punishment and to give back even more. This aggressive, forward-moving style is incredibly intimidating for anyone standing across the ring. You feel like you're constantly under attack. And don't forget the knees. While they might not use the full Muay Thai clinch as extensively as Thai fighters, Dutch kickboxers have some vicious knees in their arsenal. They can throw them in combinations, often after punches, or as a way to intercept an opponent coming in. A well-placed knee to the body can end a fight in an instant. Just ask anyone who's taken a proper liver shot from a knee. It's not fun. So you have the bone-crushing low kicks, the relentless boxing, the smart footwork, and the powerful knees. Put it all together and you have the deadly arsenal of a Dutch kickboxer. It's a complete striking package. So, you want to fight like a Dutchman? Well, get ready to work harder than you've ever worked in your life. The training in Dutch kickboxing gyms is legendary for its intensity. It's not for the faint of heart. These guys and girls push themselves to the absolute limit, day in and day out. The philosophy is simple: train hard, fight easy. Or, well, easier anyway. They believe in building an unbreakable will, a body that can withstand punishment, and a gas tank that never runs empty. It's old-school, hard work, combined with smart, modern training methods. A typical training session is a grueling affair. It starts with a long warm-up, then conditioning, lots and lots of conditioning. Think endless rounds of skipping, push-ups, sit-ups, burpees, you name it. They need to be incredibly fit to maintain the high pace and output that the Dutch style demands. Then comes the technical work. Hours spent hitting pads, working on combinations, drilling techniques over and over again until they become second nature. The pad work is intense, with trainers pushing their fighters to throw with power and precision for round after round. It's about building that muscle memory, that perfect form. Sparring is a huge part of the Dutch training culture, and it's not like patty cake sparring either. It's hard, realistic sparring. They believe that to be ready for a real fight, you have to experience what it's like to get hit, to be under pressure. Of course, they use protective gear, but the intensity is high. This is where they sharpen their skills, test their courage, and learn to adapt. It's survival of the fittest in many ways. If you can make it through the sparring sessions in a top Dutch gym, you're probably ready for anything the ring can throw at you. It forges warriors. And it's not just the physical training. There's a mental toughness that's instilled in Dutch kickboxers from day one. They are taught to be aggressive, to take the fight to their opponent, to never back down. There's a certain pride in being a Dutch kickboxer, a belief in the superiority of their style. This confidence, bordering on arrogance sometimes, is a weapon in itself. They step into the ring expecting to win, expecting to dominate. This mindset, combined with the brutal physical preparation, makes them incredibly formidable opponents. The Dutch grind is real and it produces champions. It's a culture of excellence built on pure grit. When we talk about Dutch kickboxing, we have to honor the guys who started it all, the pioneers. These were the trailblazers, the ones who laid the foundation for generations of champions. One of the most important names is Jan Plaas. He was a Kyokushin karateka who traveled to Japan, learned from the best, and then came back to Amsterdam to found Majiro Gym in 1978. Majiro Gym became legendary, a breeding ground for incredible talent. Plaas had a vision for what Dutch kickboxing could be, and he worked tirelessly to make it a reality. He was a true innovator and a master trainer. Another giant from that era is Tom Harinck. He founded Chakuriki Gym in 1972, even before Majiro. Harinck also had a background in karate and other martial arts, and he was one of the first to really start blending styles. He took elements from Japanese kickboxing, Muay Thai, and Western boxing, creating his own unique approach. Chakuriki fighters were known for their toughness, their heart, and their powerful techniques. Harinck was a charismatic and demanding coach, and he produced a string of champions who helped put Dutch kickboxing on the map. He and Plaas were rivals, but their competition helped elevate the sport. And then you have the fighters themselves, the first wave of Dutch destroyers. Rob Kamen is a name that everyone should know. The Dutchman was an absolute beast in the ring. He had incredible power, devastating low kicks, and a killer instinct. Kamen fought all over the world against the best Thais, the best Japanese, everyone, and he won. He became a multiple-time world champion and a true icon of the sport. He showed the world just how effective Dutch kickboxing could be. He was one of my heroes growing up, a true warrior. His fights were always exciting, always action-packed. These pioneers, men like Plaas, Harinck and Kamen, along with others like Lucien Carbin and Fred Royers, they didn't just create a fighting style. They created a culture, a legacy. They instilled a work ethic and a belief system that continues to this day. They took risks, they innovated, and they weren't afraid to challenge the established martial arts world. Without their passion and their dedication, Dutch kickboxing wouldn't be the global force it is today. We owe them a huge debt of gratitude. They were the ones who lit the fuse, and the explosion is still being felt around the world. If the pioneers laid the foundation, then the K1 Grand Prix era was when Dutch kickboxing truly conquered the world. K1, for those who don't know, was the premier kickboxing organization for many years, especially in the 1990s and 2000s. It brought together the best strikers from different styles, karate, Muay Thai, savate, and of course kickboxing. And who dominated K1? You guessed it, the Dutch. They turned the K1 World Grand Prix into their personal playground. It was incredible to watch. Year after year, Dutch fighters were in the finals, winning the whole thing. One name that stands above almost all others is Ernesto Mr. Perfect Hoost. What a fighter. Hoost was a four-time K1 World Grand Prix champion. He wasn't the biggest guy, but his technique was flawless. His low kicks were legendary, his boxing was crisp, and his fight IQ was off the charts. He could dissect any opponent, find their weakness, and exploit it. Watching Hoos fight was like watching a master craftsman at work. He was so smooth, so precise. He made it look easy, but believe me, what he did in the ring was incredibly difficult. A true legend. Then there's Peter the Dutch lumberjack Aerts, another absolute monster, and a 3-time K1 World Grand Prix champion. Aerts was known for his devastating high kicks. He could knock anyone out with a single shot from his shin. He was tall, powerful, and incredibly durable. He fought for so many years, always at the top level. He had legendary battles with all the greats of his era. Aerts was pure excitement. When he stepped into the ring, you knew someone was probably going to get knocked out, and often it was his opponent. He had that scary power that few possess. And we can't forget Semi Schilt. This guy was a giant, standing at 6'11". He was also a 4-time K1 World Grand Prix champion and a Glory Grand Slam champion. Schilt used his incredible reach and size to his advantage with a punishing jab and powerful front kicks and knees. He was a puzzle that very few fighters could solve. Alongside Hoos and Aerts, these three represent the pinnacle of Dutch dominance in K1. But there were many others too, like Remy Bonjasky, the Flying Gentleman, another 3-time K1 champion known for his incredible athleticism and flying attacks. The K1 era was truly the golden age for Dutch kickboxing, showcasing its power and sophistication to a global audience. The success of Dutch fighters in K1 and other international promotions had a massive ripple effect. Suddenly everyone wanted to know what they were doing in those small gyms in the Netherlands. How were they producing so many world-class strikers? The Dutch style wasn't a secret anymore, it was a blueprint for success, and fighters and coaches from all over the globe started to pay very close attention. They wanted to learn the techniques, understand the training methods, and capture some of that Dutch magic for themselves. This led to a global spread of Dutch kickboxing principles. You started seeing elements of the Dutch style popping up everywhere. In Japan, fighters began incorporating more boxing combinations with their kicks. In America, MMA fighters realized the power of Dutch low kicks and started adding them to their arsenal. Even in Thailand, the home of Muay Thai, there was an appreciation for the strong boxing and aggressive combinations of the Dutch. Seminars by Dutch coaches became incredibly popular worldwide. Top Dutch fighters would travel and teach, sharing their knowledge and inspiring a new generation of strikers in different countries. The demand for authentic Dutch training was huge. Many international fighters also made the pilgrimage to the Netherlands to train. They would spend months, sometimes years, living and training in Dutch gyms, immersing themselves in the culture and the Grueling regimen. They wanted to learn from the source, to train alongside the champions. This exchange of knowledge further helped to spread the style, but it also enriched the Dutch scene itself, as they were exposed to different approaches and ideas from around the world. It became a two-way street, but the core principles of Dutch kickboxing remained the driving force. The influence is undeniable in modern combat sports. Look at many top MMA strikers today. You can see the Dutch DNA in their stand-up game. The emphasis on combination punching, the use of low kicks to break down opponents, the aggressive forward pressure, these are all hallmarks that have been adopted and adapted. Dutch kickboxing provided a very effective framework for striking, one that was proven at the highest levels. It wasn't just about flashy moves, it was about what worked in a real fight. And that practicality, that effectiveness, is why it conquered the world and continues to be a dominant force in striking arts. Even though the K1 golden era might be behind us, Dutch kickboxing is far from finished. In fact, it's still producing some of the most exciting and skilled strikers on the planet. Promotions like Glory Kickboxing have become the new home for elite stand-up fighters, and Dutch warriors are consistently at the forefront, holding titles and putting on incredible performances. The names may change, but the quality and the fighting spirit remain the same. A new generation has picked up the torch, and they are carrying it proudly, representing that classic Dutch style. These modern fighters, guys like Rico Verhoeven, who has been a dominant heavyweight champion in glory for years, showcase the evolution of the style. Rico is big, athletic, incredibly smart, and technically brilliant. He embodies the modern Dutch kickboxer, well-rounded, strategic, and capable of adapting to any opponent. He's not just a brawler, he's a thinking fighter who uses all the tools in the Dutch arsenal with incredible efficiency. He shows that the style isn't static, it continues to evolve and adapt to the modern demands of the sport, incorporating new training methods and strategies. The training in the Netherlands also continues to be top-notch. While the legendary gyms like Majiro and Chakuriki are still respected, new gyms and coaches have emerged, building on the foundations laid by the pioneers. They combine the old-school toughness with modern sports science, creating athletes who are not only skilled, but also incredibly conditioned and resilient. The commitment to hard sparring and technical excellence is still there. Young kids are starting early, learning the fundamentals, dreaming of becoming the next Hoost, Ertz or Verhoeven. The pipeline of talent is still very much active. What's also interesting is seeing how the style continues to influence and be influenced. With the rise of MMA, many Dutch kickboxers have successfully transitioned, bringing their elite striking skills to the cage. And in turn, the grappling and wrestling aspects of MMA sometimes find their way back into the thinking of kickboxing training, perhaps in terms of clinch work or defensive strategies. The core Dutch system remains, but it's not afraid to absorb new information and refine itself. This adaptability is key to its ongoing success and ensures that the new breed of Dutch warriors will continue to make their mark on the global stage for years to come. So, what does the future hold for Dutch kickboxing? If you ask me, it's looking bright, very bright. The legacy built over the past 5 decades is incredibly strong. This isn't some flash-in-the-pan style, it's a proven system that consistently produces elite fighters. The principles of powerful low kicks, sharp boxing combinations, relentless pressure and grueling training are timeless. As long as there are people who want to learn how to strike effectively, Dutch kickboxing will have a major role to play. It's just too good, too effective to fade away. The global reach of Dutch kickboxing is also a huge factor in its future success. There are now qualified Dutch-style trainers and gyms in almost every corner of the world. This means more people than ever have access to authentic training. This widespread adoption not only keeps the style alive, but also helps it to grow and evolve as different cultures and individuals put their own spin on it, while respecting the core fundamentals. The more people practicing and competing, the higher the overall level of the sport becomes, and that's good for everyone. It means more exciting fights and more skilled athletes, where we will continue to see Dutch fighters at the highest levels of kickboxing and MMA. The Netherlands has a deep talent pool and a culture that supports combat sports. Young athletes are inspired by the legends of the past and the champions of today. They know that with hard work and dedication, they too can reach the pinnacle of the sport. The infrastructure is there, the knowledge is there, and most importantly, the passion is there. That Dutch fighting spirit, that desire to be the best, is deeply ingrained. It's something special, something you can't just teach. It's part of who they are. Ultimately, the power and precision of Dutch kickboxing ensure its enduring impact. It's a style built on effectiveness, on what truly works in a fight. It's beautiful in its brutality, sophisticated in its simplicity. Whether it's in a kickboxing ring under glory rules or in an MMA cage, the influence of Dutch striking will be undeniable. The Orange legacy is one of champions, of innovation, and of a relentless pursuit of excellence. And I have no doubt that this legacy will continue to inspire and dominate for many, many years to come. So keep your eyes on those Dutch fighters, because they'll always bring the heat. Boom!